The UK introduced the Scale-up visa with a big ambition to attract high-growth companies and top global talent and to make it easier for skilled professionals to work in the UK without being tied to one employer long-term. But here's the reality. Since its launch in 2022, the Scale-up visa has seen very low uptake compared to the skilled worker visa. While hundreds of thousands of skilled worker visas are issued every year, the number of Scale-up visas granted has remained relatively small. In thousands, not tens of thousands. And that raises some big questions. Is this visa actually working? Why are so few companies registering as scale-up sponsors? And why are so many candidates struggling to find these jobs? On paper, this visa sounds almost perfect, right? Because you can switch jobs more easily. You're not fully dependent on one employer long term. And it offers a faster, more flexible route compared to traditional work visas. But in reality, many people don't even know how to find scale-up sponsor companies. Some employers are hesitant to use this route, and candidates are left confused about whether this is an opportunity or just another complicated visa category. So in today's podcast, we are going to break everything down. What is the scale-up visa actually and how it works? Where to find real job opportunities? Why uptake has been so slow? And whether this visa is a hit or a miss from the UK government. And to help us understand all of this, I'm joined by Amil from MAK25 Immigration firm, who has hands-on experience with UK work visas and employer sponsorship. So let's get into it. Hi Amil, welcome to Your Knowledge Buddy. And I'm not going to into any introduction because my audience definitely knows you. We are working for a very long time now.
Yes.
So I'm going to jump straight to the topic. Today's topic is about Scale-up visa. We had been talking a lot about skill visa, requirements and other bits.
Yeah.
But we hardly talk about Scale-up visa. In fact, even I don't talk about it because I personally felt like it wasn't a successful visa category because not too many people got and not too many people maybe found it useful. Maybe from the employer side or from the employer side, I don't know. But we don't talk about it because people are not using it. So we are going to talk in detail about Scale-up visa with you, and let's see how much in depth we can go today to clear all the answers that people have about Scale-up visa. Okay?
Shoot.
Ready? Okay. So let's start with, what is the Scale-up visa in the UK?
See, Scale-up visa basically is for high growth businesses where the business is growing really well. They've got good amount of employees, and it's vice versa. It's for the employee side as well, where the employees are high skilled workers, not just skilled worker, high skilled workers in specific categories of IT, engineering, medical and all those sorts of things. Mainly IT, I would say, in managerial positions and stuff. So in Scale-up visa basically is designed to make sure high net worth businesses getting high skilled worker people in this country.
Okay, so there's a list of the job which government have already defined, like these are the high.
Of course, yes, they have got own their SOC job list just like skilled workers only. Mostly 90-95% overlaps. It's exactly the same job roles which we have right now for skilled workers. So I think there's not much difference about it, but mainly it focuses into IT and managerial positions, I would say.
Okay, but still they have mentioned a different.
Yeah, of course. They have a different link altogether.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't know about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so how is it different to skilled worker visa? Other than you said few jobs are not there.
Yeah, of course.
What else?
Huge difference, I would say. Okay, I'll tell you two perspective. Okay, let me tell you the employee perspective. Okay, let's say I'm an employee. I get a job in the Scale-up visa company which is sponsored, and once I work with them for the first 6 months, then I'm allowed to do whatever I want. So Scale-up visa, you just need to be sponsored for the first 6 months, and after 6 months you don't need any sponsorship ahead. You can just do the self-employment. You can work with other companies. Make sure you work on that RQF level 6+ equivalent role, but you need to make sure if you want to be here, you want to extend your visa, then you need to work on specific job roles, and you just need to be sponsored for the first 6 months. That's the employee perspective. But when I talk about Scale-up visa as the employer perspective, and I spoke to a couple of sponsors as well for Scale-up, they always tell me one thing, that Amil, it's of no use for us. Because we don't have any control to retain the employees. They might just use as a stepping stone. It might have happened to them, we don't know. But they said people might use us as a stepping stone, and then they leave and they do whatever they want. maybe they get another skilled worker visa, because once you're here in the country, you get a lot of credibility. People already understand, oh, you're sponsor, so you might be having good amount of qualifications, and as you would be a high skilled worker, obviously, so you might be having other opportunities as well. So I think both the perspective I understand is very different as far as the mindset is concerned. Yeah.
As an employer, I definitely feel for them if they are
Yeah.
someone employing an immigrant and
Of course.
they stay only for 6 months.
Right.
Imagine they are back to square one.
Yeah.
They will have to again start hunting for that high skilled
Right.
person to join them, and then it's not beneficial for them. I think that's why they are not registering as a scale-up company. I have a follow-up question on this, Amil. To become a licensed sponsor for skilled worker visa, do scale-up for scale-up companies as well? Do they have a different kind of license, or is it the same kind of license?
It's a completely different license. So when, as an immigration company, we apply for a sponsor license, we get different kind of categories in what category the sponsor wants to apply in. So we get 10 categories like scale up, skilled workers, temporary, and all those things. When you apply for a scale up visa, and I think you want to know the different criteria as well, right?
Correct.
To be a scale up sponsor, there are two important requirements you need to think about. For the last 3 years, your revenue should be 20% on top of that. So every year your company is growing 20% in terms of revenue. Or at least you are having 10 employees in the companies for the last 3 years who are there on your payroll. So either you need to meet this requirement or this requirement.
Either of this.
Either
Okay.
of this, yes, because any one of this would actually show that you are a high growing company, that 20% of your revenue every year for the last 3 years at least, or 10 employees for the last 3 years who are there on the payroll. So that is the only different requirement, I would say, as far as a skilled worker license is concerned. And apart from that, obviously the finances and the consistency would also matter when you want to become a scale up sponsor. One more thing, if people actually want to navigate the scale up sponsors, you can download the same list for the skilled workers, and the home office has given now subcategories on the right hand side. So you can see if MAK25 has got a skilled worker license, do they have a scale up as well? So there are multiple companies who have got multiple licenses where it would be mentioned that what are the categories they have. So it's exactly the same list, and if you check the subcategories, you'll find the different kind of scale up or skilled worker category as well.
So one company can apply for scale-up license as well, and they can also apply for skill license.
Exactly, yes. We have got a client who have got multiple licenses. Yeah.
And when a company applies for scale-up license, do you see home office questioning them or challenging them why you want to apply for scale-up license?
In all honesty, home office asking questions for everything now, Sarika. Whether we talk about skilled worker, cause, or scale up, the scrutiny always happens. But for scale up specifically, the financial scrutiny is much more as compared to something else, because they want to see the consistency in terms of hiring applicants.
Okay. Thank you, Amil, so far. So let's move to the salary requirement. So again, we know about the skilled salary requirement, the changes which were introduced last year.
Yeah.
What about scale-up visa requirements?
So when scale up actually started, Sarika, in 2023, the minimum requirement was 33,000 pounds, and now it has been increased to 39,100. So you need to make sure it's exactly the same as skilled worker visa, but you need to make sure either you're getting 39,100, which is this flow rate, or you need to choose the going rate, whichever is higher. So let's say a business development manager, the going rate is 55,200 pounds and the flow rate is 39,100. You need to choose whatever is higher. There are few jobs which is below 39,100, but still you need to choose 39,100 because that's the flow rate. You need to make sure either you need to take the flow rate or whatever is higher. That's it.
Okay, it's the same concept as the skilled visa.
Exactly the same.
It's just that the salary is different here on skilled visa versus the scale-up visa.
Right.
Okay. One more question on this topic. Now, what happens if someone loses job on a scale-up visa? Like, do they also get similar 60 days like we get on a skilled worker visa?
So for skilled worker, obviously you need to be with a sponsor for an amount of 5 years as of today. But for scale up, you just need to be for 6 months. So if within 6 months you get redundancy, your job was terminated or you were fired, then yes, you get a curtailment from the home office and you get a 60 days timeline in order to find a new job or maybe to leave the country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in scale-up visa, so for 6 months they need to be sponsored.
Right.
And for the remaining time they don't need to.
They don't need to be
Yeah.
sponsored.
And in terms of applying for ILR, so their term is also in total is 5 years. Right?
Exactly. Yes.
So
Yes.
it's, the only benefit is that 6 months you get sponsored, for 4.5 years you don't have to be sponsored.
Exactly. You can work in any company in the United Kingdom. If you want the ILR, maybe we would be covering next, but the salary and the financial criteria needs to be met accurately.
Okay. One question from the white paper proposal. Again, our focus was always on skilled worker. And
Yeah, of
people
course.
impacted, but never talked
Of
about
course.
scale-up visa.
Of course.
By any chance, did you see any new proposal, anything for scale-up visa as well in the white paper?
Nothing. I mean, when we go through the white paper, they are only talking about three specific things: skilled workers, innovator, founder, and global talent, where they are saying that skilled workers need to be there in the country for like 10 years, 15 years, and 20 years. But there is nothing for the scale-up visa, because for scale-up visa, the criteria is completely different as compared to skilled workers, because they're not bounded by anything. And to be honest, Sarika, I've seen in the last 4-5 years, whatever time I have been into this industry, there are very less minimal amount of people who actually gets the scale-up visa, because people are not interested in applying for the scale-up license themselves.
I agree to that.
Yeah.
Being an employer, I think it's a headache for them, getting them and losing them in 6 months.
Of course.
They cannot be always on a hiring.
Spree, yeah.
Yeah, true. Moving to the next section, which is about whether this visa is a hit or a miss. Yeah, so from my understanding, not too many people know about it. Even the companies who have registered as a skill visa, I don't know, are they aware that there's another visa category as they should register themselves as a scale-up company? I don't know. So from your perspective, based on what you have seen so far, do you really think scale-up visa is a hit? Why did government first of all launch it? Let's talk about it. What was the problem they were trying to solve here?
See, when the scale-up visa came in, it came only for one specific thing, that when people are applying for a skilled worker visa, they're not getting any further opportunities because they're bounded by the sponsor. So that was refraining United Kingdom for maybe high skilled workers to come to this country. They were choosing other European countries, or maybe they were going to US or other part of the world. But when you need somebody from a good tech industry, maybe from a managerial position or something like that, they wanted to make sure that that talent comes to this country and obviously make opportunities for the localites as well. So that's the reason why scalar visa came in. But when you talk about the awareness part, I know many sponsors who are not even aware about, many businesses who are not even aware about the skilled workers. So scale up is something which is need to be made aware about the sponsors, that how it can help you. I have an IT client, we recently had a chat about it. I'll just finish it in 2 minutes. That wanted somebody to be as a solution architect in the company for the first 2 years. So they wanted to apply for a scale-up visa, but somebody just told them that they might come and they might leave your projects in the first 6 months. So that has really happened. So that's the reason people are refraining, even if they're eligible, because people think, okay, it might be, a big eligibility requirement to apply for a sponsor license for a skilled worker. 10 employees is not a big thing. 20% of revenue growth every year is not a big thing for many companies. Yeah, maybe small SMEs might get an impact or hit by that, but there are many companies in the UK who will be eligible from day one when it comes to the scale up sponsor. But just for the sake of this issue, they are not allowing, and they're not appreciating this kind of sponsorship for applicants.
Yeah. I personally feel that given that the immigration restrictions which is going on in the discussion, ILR, I think they are restricting people to stay here for longer. So skill visa is still preferred by the employers because they know they're restricting them for say 5 years. As of today, 5 years.
Of course, yeah.
And if they continue promoting scale up companies or scale up visa, they know they have a freedom to move around.
Yeah,
and I don't think they want it. Maybe they started it, maybe they will stop it because they are not seeing it as success. At least personally, I don't see it as success because I still don't know what problem they are trying to solve here. Because all the companies, employers are finding skill visa more preferable for them because they are keeping that employee for 5 years so that it can benefit that company as compared to switching, that employee can switch to different kind of companies and contribute there.
Yeah, I mean, as far as our conversation and my personal experience is also concerned, the retention rate is very high in skilled worker.
Yeah.
Companies are removing them. There are big brands, I'll talk off cameras, who are just removing skilled workers when the ILR time is coming up. Because they know that the people want to be in this company. But when it comes to scale up, people are leaving them like that. So I think that's a huge difference between where the power comes to the employee in the scale up visa, and the power remains with the employers when it comes to skilled worker.
True. Okay. By any chance, do you also remember, is there any cost difference for the license when they apply for a scale up license versus the skilled worker license?
Yeah.
Is it a different or is it the same?
I haven't checked it yet, to be very frank, because scale up is the license we haven't applied in the past. But as far as the licenses are concerned, I don't think so there should be any change in terms of the fees or anything like that, because it equivalence, it's almost the same. Yeah, for temporary workers the fees is a bit cheaper as compared to skilled workers, but not for scale up.
Okay, thank you. Moving to the next session. So based on what you were discussing already, what profile works best for landing a scale-up sponsored role? So you talked about high-skilled people, like people in IT.
Yeah.
Is there any more profile you remember from the list that you have already seen?
Yeah, there were logistics managers, transport managers. Still, it's available. Logistics or transport manager, one of them. Yes, it is still available. Really? And the SOC code is 1241 because we recently did one for a transport manager.
Okay,
yes.
I didn't know transport managers considered as high.
Yeah. It is. It is still And business development managers, sales account manager, brand managers, marketing managers, HR managers. And there is a subsection of the financial part as well. So there is a huge area of finance which comes under this, and obviously IT has been all over, whether we talk about the skilled worker or the scale up visa.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm learning about it because I didn't know about this, that there are many roles.
Yeah.
Like you already said, there's a quite overlap for the skilled jobs versus
of course.
But I didn't know those roles as well qualify. But again, I really wonder how many companies will be willing to give that scale of visa because they will not see too much of benefit.
Of course, right? Yeah.
I have another question to ask. So like I know for skilled worker visa, anybody can apply for anywhere. For example, people sitting in India, they apply for a job. If that job is eligible for sponsorship, the employer is ready to sponsor, they can get that.
Right.
For scale up visa, if somebody have to apply for that, they can also apply from abroad, or do they have to be specifically in this country to apply?
It's exactly the same as skilled workers. Yeah, there's no changes with that.
Okay. We are almost wrapping up this topic, but just a couple of more questions maybe. Let's talk about the ILR. So very similar to skill visa, when people move from skill visa to ILR, like they finish 5 years.
Yes.
Is the process same for people on the scale visa, or is it different? How many years they have to be?
The process is the same, I would say, but the eligibility is completely different. Because for skilled worker ILR, the eligibility is completely different. For scale up, it's completely different, and obviously it leads to ILR, it leads to nationalization as well. But Home Office 99% looks at the financial requirement when you're switching from a scale up visa to your ILR, because they are aware about the fact that maybe you're self-employed. So the self-employed finance is not being counted towards your settlement. That's number one. If you're doing 2 jobs at the same time, they won't consider both the job salary for the ILR. They're only going to calculate whichever is the highest. So let's say you're working as a software developer and earning £40,000, and you're working as an IT manager and earning, let's say, £20,000. So they won't club the salaries and make it 60. They're only going to consider the software developer one where you are earning £40,000. But during that time, you can do multiple jobs. So let's say for the first 12 months you're working as a software developer, the next 12 months you're working as an IT manager. So those things would be definitely be counted, but not 2 jobs at the same time would be counted.
Wow, I didn't know that. Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay. So you are allowed to do 2 jobs then?
You're allowed to do 2 jobs.
Any number of hours you can work. There's no restriction in the
as long as you're
well.
paying taxes.
Yeah.
Right.
Because in skill visa you can do supplementary job, but again I think 20 hours.
That's 20 hours. Yeah. That's 20 hours.
Visa you can do as many jobs you want, as many hours you can after 6 months, after the initial 6 months, right?
Subject to exactly the standard going rate, the RQF level. Make sure you're not doing Uber deliveries. Make sure you're not working as a cashier, as a receptionist. Make sure you're following the same job code but not with a sponsor. Just that SWOT is above is taken away from you, but the role and the salary needs to be equivalent.
Okay. Thank you very much, Amil. I've learned quite a lot on Scalar Visa. Is there anything else you want to enlighten me and the audience on this topic?
I think I'll just say one more thing about the ILR bit, where people think about that what is the financial eligibility to apply for the ILR. So in the last 3 years, the Home Office calculate the last 2 years, okay, any 2 years in the last 3 years, that how much is your salary. It needs to be at least 39,100 or whatever is the going rate. So whenever you're applying for the ILR, in the last 3 years, they are going to look any 2 years and see if on a monthly basis you're getting at least that salary. So that is the technicality of it. People look the annual 39,100. You should make sure equivalent on a monthly basis as well you're getting that amount of salary.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in terms of evidence, they will have to provide their salary slip, bank statement.
Yes, exactly. The P60s. Yes, of course.
Yeah, those are the evidence.
Letter from the employer.
And what if they are self-employed?
Self-employed is not counted towards the
It's not
ILR.
counted.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's see how many people reach that stage. I really don't know how
Definitely.
many will. But again, anybody watching this video, if you have got a Scalar Visa, make sure you comment. I will be very interested to interview you guys. And thank you very much, Amil, for coming and sharing your knowledge on this.
Thank you, Sarika. Thank you so much, everyone.